Elizabeth, just turning to you just finally, I mean, we've talked about some people don't want to eat healthy because they simply can't afford it. But actually, what I find is when you eat healthy, you actually feel better as well. I know people who've lived out at university and they've eaten, fast food for months and months on end, and they've actually felt the effects. And they've realized that when I eat this type of food, I actually feel better, I feel more alert in lessons and things. And would that be, I guess, something that you would agree with?
Everything that is kind of too extreme, if you eat a very extreme diet and only eat on the go and only always the same kind of food, you're very likely to miss out on some really important nutrients.
Right.
So I think that you will definitely feel better if you get the balance right. Or for example, if you're a student and you skip breakfast, you're going to feel tired throughout the morning. And you are more likely to pick something up that's not as healthy. So if you start your day with breakfast, you will feel immediately more energetic. You perform physically better and also mentally better.
Yeah. So I guess what we're saying is that, I mean, in terms of you don't want to buy the healthy food because it's £2 more expensive, but in the long run, that £2 will
I totally
be of
agree
benefit
with
in the
you
end.
that you can, if you prepare your own lunch maybe at home and take it with you, you can make sure it is healthy and it is cheaper than anything you pick up. You can add some fruit and it's really going to help you avoid buying stuff that maybe
fantastic. We just need to take a short break, but stay with us. We'll carry on the discussion in just a few moments, so don't go anywhere.
वक्त था वक्त मसीहा न किसी और का वक्त था वक्त मसीहा न किसी और का वक्त मैं ना आता तो कोई और ही आया होता मैं ना आता तो कोई और ही आया होता जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद अहमदियत जिंदाबाद अहमदियत जिंदाबाद अहमदियत जिंदाबाद अहमदियत जिंदाबाद अहमदियत जिंदाबाद
Welcome back to part 2 of the program here today. We've been looking at modern lifestyle, health, fitness, and general well-being, and we're going to carry on that discussion right now. As I was telling to you before in the program, we looked at sort of what we can do on an individual level, but looking at general lifestyles and health, it affects everyone across the world, and different governments have dealt with it in different ways. Specifically looking in the UK. What sort of initiatives has the government actually brought out and are they actually working?
The government has been trying for a number of years now in terms of for physical activity, but also looking at nutrition. So there's, for example, the Food Standards Agency have something called the Eat Well plate, which is a general guide of how you should be varying the amount of certain types of food on your plate. There's also the Eat Healthy and Stay Healthy, the physical active drives that they've had, so things like walking to work, especially, but also walking to school, which is the one specially aimed at children. Yeah. They've also had things like cycling initiatives as well, so cycling to work, and one of the audience members was discussing that as well. So there's been several initiatives aimed at that. The things more that I've been involved in general practice is also there are healthy lifestyles initiatives, so patients who we think might be at risk of further down the line developing things like cardiovascular disease or diabetes or those kind of things, we can actually try to intervene a bit earlier and get a dietitian involved in their care, and also having exercise on prescription. So that's basically whereby they will be referred to an organisation that will be doing classes, for example, with certain types of exercises. Quite basic, but it's something to get people involved in initially. So usually it will be people who are maybe obese or have certain risk factors that will get involved there. So.
James, do you sort of teach those sort of classes where people have actually joined because they've been prescribed by a GP to actually get more exercise?
I do some GP referral exercise, yeah. We are doing classes for people exactly in those situations where you're going to start at a more basic level, which is fine as long as they're doing something and they're getting active, then that's improving their health, and gradually you can see them dropping weight and potentially even getting to a stage where they're doing the same sort of exercise that someone who's been in the gym for the last few years might do.
And do you find, I mean, there must be people joining that who haven't, maybe done much exercise before previously. When they get used to exercise, how do they find it? Do they actually, respond positively to it?
Yeah, definitely. Once they've got through the initial stage, which tends to be quite a mental barrier, people are a bit worried about it, and the whole idea of exercise seems to be this big sort of scary block for them. And it doesn't have to be like that. What we do is very simple and fun. We play games. We even throwing balls around. Simple stuff. It's not like your hardcore army training. We're going to do 500 sit-ups, 20 press-ups. Go, go, go.
Because that's the stereotype some people always have. They have that fear of going to the gym or joining an exercise club because they don't know what it's really going to be like, and they might be pushed to breaking point. Some people, I think, are actually
scared of that. You can see why
they
wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be like that. And I think that's definitely a message that needs to get out there to these people that are in the risk factors. They don't have to come in and train like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not what it's about.
Okay, so we're talking about initiatives. Use people living in the UK. How have you found these initiatives, and do they actually affect you on a day-to-day level?
You see, I work in the medical field myself, and we've been talking about obesity. One of the issues that comes up with people who are obese or overweight that we hear about a lot is that it's the same kind of thing that you hear from people who are smokers or drink alcohol heavily, is that they go through a period where they can lose their weight or stop their addictive behavior, but then they find that they put the weight back on after a few years or a few months, and the fact that they put back on the weight, it seems to happen very easily, and it's not something that they can control very well. So I don't know, particularly from like a medical point of view, that what's the truth behind that.
I think this is a problem with people going on sort of like fad dieting or having these big drives of where they'll join the gym and they'll maybe go to the gym for about 3 months and then it stops. The problem with weight maintenance is not actually going on that diet and then the weight will stay off.
Right.
Because if you go on that diet and you go back to your original lifestyle before you went on the diet, you will put all the weight back on. And it comes down to pure numbers. It's a numbers game. It's how much calories you're taking in and how much output you're having from your activity. So I think a lot of people, and I think James will probably know about this, is that they'll join the gym or they'll be part of this really active lifestyle for about 3 months, and then it will just stop. And if you stop that, you will put the weight back on. So the way to combat that is actually incorporating it into your lifestyle, into your daily lifestyle on a permanent basis.
Okay. James,
You're totally right. It's about finding something that you want to do and you actually enjoy that as part of your week that you can do permanently. There's no point, literally no point in coming in, working hard for 2 months and then leaving. It doesn't do you anything really in the long run. It's probably better than sitting on the sofa, but what you need to do is have a life that is healthy and vital. If you feel the energy from doing the exercise for a couple of months, then you should take that feeling and realise that that's actually going to be something positive for your whole life. And you don't need to be in the gym 5 times a week pushing weights and doing whatever. You just need to do something that's actually healthy and enjoyable, that maybe play tennis.
Where does that point come? If you're sort of living a certain lifestyle, you got used to that. When do you get to the point where you think, actually, do you know what, I may be putting on weight or something, or I don't feel as active as I was before, I need to do more? For a lot of people, they prefer just to ignore it. I'm just getting older, it's fine, it's what comes with it. But how do you actually get that spark of enthusiasm within you to actually go out and make a lifestyle change? Because that's what we're talking about right now. We've mentioned obesity being an epidemic and that the numbers are going to increase. So to stop that, obviously we have to have, you know, a real change in lifestyle. So how do we actually get that change going?
Everyone needs that moment of inspiration to get into the gym. If you come to me into the gym and say, James, I want to start doing something and feel like I'm not really moving properly,
Right.
I can do that for you, but unless you come into the gym, I'm never going to see you. So it's a case of getting that inspiration into people's heads. Maybe it's going to be an advertising campaign, something like the government health campaigns. Maybe that's going to be a moment where you see a sport or something happening and you think, no, I want a piece of that. But you know, that needs to happen for more people, and hopefully we can get it happening earlier down the line before it becomes a problem. You know, that's when people normally have that inspiration. It's a negative inspiration. I've gone to see the GP and I am officially obese.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, let's go to the gym. You know,
Yeah, I guess, I mean,
we wanna cut it
there's two
out.
ways of really dealing with that. Maybe you have that experience. Some people might take it in a negative way, and there's other people actually a bit more sort of upbeat and think, you know, do you know what, I want to change this. I want to turn this around. Is that something that you notice?
Yeah, I mean, you get some people who really do. It's like that realization point. So they think, oh no, this is really bad, and I've got to do something to change this. And people will have that at different points, and it's a difficult thing. And you could even compare it to, I mean, I know we're not talking about smoking, but you could compare it to smoking. People know from when they're children, they know that it's bad for you. They all know. And lots of people still do it, and it becomes an addiction. And a lot of people only end up giving up when they have this awful chest infection, or they can't breathe very well, and they start thinking, oh, or some relative gets lung cancer, something like that. So that's a realization point. That will work for certain groups of people, and that will maybe work for adults. But the aim of the game is actually, from a young age, for people's attitudes to be completely different, so that their attitudes are that we want to be healthy, we want to do things in a good, balanced way. And that's the challenge. That's difficult because that incorporates the schools, parents,
Exactly.
And so it's a lot more multifactorial, whereby, you know, the person who is maybe in their 30s or 40s and they're thinking, okay, you know, I'm starting to get unwell, it's a bit easier for them to maybe I'm saying a bit easier for them to turn it around, but on an individual basis, you know, it can happen fairly easily for some, and for some it can be really hard. So.
And there must be so many examples where people have turned, you know, their lives around and made a difference.
There are some amazing cases, and I saw a patient who just a couple of months ago, and he was quite big, and he had really high cholesterol, and I just spoke to him about his diet and asked him what does he do, and we had a brief chat about cardiovascular disease, and he completely, within a couple of months, he just stopped drinking alcohol because he's drinking quite in excess. He just made a few changes, and he lost kilos of weight, and you know, he was able to do that quite easily just by a brief chat about cardiovascular disease. But that's because he wasn't even thinking about it. So that was an easy one. But I think the people who know about it, they know what it's doing, that's the harder group.
Right.
And it's very challenging.
Elizabeth, yeah, we'd like to add something to that.
Say something. It is really hard to lose weight and maintain it. You're totally right, especially if you go on a crash diet, as you said, and you can't maintain it. So you do have to make changes that you can keep. But I think even more importantly for everyone is to try not to put on weight over time. We are often not aware. We put on a kilo in a year and we don't really see it. And also most people who put on weight only eat in excess of about 70 to 100 calories a day, which is not much at all. And if you just don't take the bus and walk 15 minutes home, that's about 70 calories.
All right, let's turn to the audience. Let's get some points raised. Raz, you had your hand up earlier on.
I just wanted to expand upon the point that Elizabeth made, really, regarding balance, and I think that's a very key issue. You know, going to either extremes is obviously going to cause problems, whether it be sort of not eating as much or eating too much. And in Islam itself, it teaches the middle way is the best way. So I think that's a very key point to address, that eating right and eating sort of going down the middle route is probably the best way
Keeping
forward.
that moderation in hand.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, we've got 1 point here at the front. What would you like to add to the discussion?
I think personally, to reduce obesity, we need to exercise more. And personally, as a student, when I was doing my GCSE, according to my timetable, we only done PE, as you were saying, once
in a week.
1 hour a week, which thinking about it is not that much. And plus after school activities. If you wanted to join after school clubs, it was either football, swimming, rugby. But in a way, you had to be the best to join because as a school, they had a reputation to keep. And there wasn't really an encouragement
And
of...
I mean, at your school, did they actually address the issue of obesity? Did they talk about exercise enough and what foods
It
to
wasn't
eat?
encouraged that much.
Okay.
And really, we have to find the time now. We have to get into a habit now to keep it maintained throughout our life. Otherwise, we will end up in obesity.
Okay, one more point. Rafa, you haven't said anything. If you'd like to just add something.
To mention a point again about the balance. What I realized when I was working out, I didn't eat properly, but was working out, I couldn't see any results. This was due to the fact because I was eating wrong.
So were you going to a gym regularly or working at home?
And I made some time out for that as well.
Right.
But the key point is having a proper diet and working out gives you the best results, no matter in what time scale you're planning it.
So it's about keeping that balance.
Yes.
So I mean, in the example of someone who is at home, maybe they're working a lot, they do a lot of they do an office job or something, they're sat down a lot of the time. Are there certain exercises or maybe some stretches or something that you could actually demonstrate for us today that may be of
There's
of
definitely
help?
some stuff you can do.
Yeah, do you want to say, we've got some space here if you'd like to
Okay.
just give us some
I
practical advice.
might need a volunteer to help me.
I'm sure there's someone here who's be,
You sure you
who'd
don't
be
want to join in?
more than willing. Yeah, come on.
Okay,
Rafa.
okay, calm down, calm down.
If you'd like, just
All right, so if you can take a spot there, I'll not to explain. So we'll just run through a couple of exercises that you might be able to do at home. Even if you got home at the end of a busy day, you could spend 20 minutes doing something like this. Obviously, you want to warm up to start with. I would suggest maybe putting on a song, something you like, and having a little dance around the room for a bit, 3 to 5 minutes. You know, you're at home, no one's watching. And then we get into more sort of movement-based exercises. So we start with a wide squat. So feet wide and toes slightly pointing out, head up nice and tall. And just as simple as that, you're getting the big muscles working. You want everything nice and in line, legs down to your toes.
now
And
for
you can
this,
feel-
I mean, do you have to wear specific clothing, or you know, even if you're out?
You could
at the
do it like
office?
this if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably going to get a bit sweaty, so you might want to wear a normal t-shirt or something like that, not your work clothes. But yeah, you know,
Okay, all
if
right.
you just got home from work, you could get changed and start making some lunges there, so nice and balanced. And you can feel the big muscles working.
Rafa, how do you feel while you're doing this?
You can feel the squats.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you want to get your legs and your upper body, everything working together, because that's the most efficient way to burn calories.
Okay.
Okay, so you've got something like that. You could even turn it into a twist, so you're moving your upper body over the front leg. That's it. And then you've got things like your old classic press-ups.
Well, Rafa,
So let's go for 10.
Okay.
So that's it, good.
and I mean, the people watching this here, what do you think? Is this something you're going to do at home? Is this something maybe you guys do? Who's got the microphone at the moment? Charles, what do you think?
I mean, I think things like this, what
All right.
Saf touched upon earlier regarding sort of activities which are sort of individual based,
Yeah.
you need some form of motivation to do that. Now, obviously, with two people there,
Yeah.
you know, you can work against each other. You know, you could push each other to,
Yeah.
right, you've got to do 10, you've got to do 20. It'll give you that motivation to go and do that. Whereas
Right.
if you're at
Thanks,
home
thanks.
on your own, I don't think it would be something that would be, I guess, tangible, because no one would actually go and do that.
Rafa, if we can just get the microphone to you. How did you feel doing that? Was it good? Does it get you out of breath a bit?
Definitely.
Or you feel
It really helps. And you can still hear me.
put you through your
and,
paces a bit? But I mean, is that something that you would do at home if you got 5 minutes spare? Is that something you'd
This
actually...
really helps actually. Sparing out like 10 minutes can re-improve your fitness over the long time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for joining in with that. James, we've had a look at some of the examples there of different exercises. What about warming up as well? Is that something that's necessary even for that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're at home, it's still worth doing it. You know, you're not quite in the gym situation, but you know, you can feel that you're actually out of breath and that your muscles are working a little bit. So you still need to work with the proper principles of exercise. You know, it doesn't need to be really over organised, but you know, like I say, put on some music, have a little dance around. Just do anything that gets your body moving, gets the blood flowing around your veins and your heart rate up. That is necessary for you to do any sort of exercise, and then you can then go on and do a few rounds of press-ups, a few rounds of squats, a few rounds of lunges, and work around. It doesn't need to be complicated. You do 3 or 4 exercises in a circuit, have a little rest, and keep going back round. You can do that 3 or 4 times. You know, obviously, you're limited to what you've got in the house. But it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to be doing the world's most intelligent exercise to
Yeah.
get a workout.
So basically what you're saying is just a little bit each day will help you in the long
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Elizabeth, just turning to you, I mean, earlier on in the program, we were talking about food labeling, and some people find it quite difficult to differentiate what food is healthy. I know there's a few schemes at the moment, especially in this country, where if you look on a packet of food, there's certain red, yellow, and green icons. I mean, I've noticed that, but should we look at those, and how accurate are those? Could you just shed some light on that?
The traffic light system that you were referring to is basically showing us if a food is high or low or medium in certain nutrients. And it is still hard to judge, how much can I eat of that and so on. But it helps you kind of get an idea of what is in a product. And even I'm sometimes surprised, when you have a sandwich or something, and there are such big differences if you compare them, and that's what they're actually for.
Right.
If you want to buy something and you don't exactly know what's in there, like sandwiches or ready meals or anything that you don't prepare from scratch,
prepared food, yeah.
it's just easy to compare it, and sometimes you get half the calories in a sandwich than in another sandwich, and that can make a really big change.
I mean, you've mentioned calories. I mean, that seems to be, everyone's talking about calories and reducing the number of calories. I've also heard of RDAs, and there's a few different terms like that. Could you just explain those? I mean, if you're trying to cut down, for example, on your weight, should you just be looking at calories, or are there other factors?
Not only, in the end, you only put on weight if you eat too many calories, you lose weight if you eat fewer calories or burn more calories. So it does come down to that. But having said that, if you have, for example, a gram fat contains twice as many calories as a gram protein or a gram carbohydrates. So if you eat foods that are very high in fat, then they are what we call very energy dense. So for 100 grams, let's say, they contain more energy than if you have another food that is lower in fat or high in water.
All right. We're just coming to the end of the program. James, turning to you, final remarks, and we've got people watching. I hope they've taken something from the little physical demonstration that we had. But I mean, we've got people all over the world that watch, have different sort of lifestyles. What would be your general sort of remark to close off the discussion today?
Well, I'd say it's as we've mentioned, balance, and as you mentioned, the middle way is the best. To find a bit of everything that works for you. Yes, exercise, yes, nutrition. Don't obsess about either one of them, but do both well. And to find something that you enjoy doing, it's got to be fun, and try and put a bit of life into it. Yeah. You should look forward to being healthy. It shouldn't be a duty that you have to perform because someone's told you. It should be something you look forward to.
Okay, all right. And Elizabeth, just a final little quick remark.
I can only agree to this. Try to have a balance. And if you slip, or if you have a day where you think you have absolutely indulged on something, that's fine, just as long as you stick to the balance overall.
Okay, fine. And Azza, just briefly, how would you like to end the discussion today?
I would just like to say that there is no shortcut to healthy living, and people who try to do those, they're not going to succeed. The only way you're going to do it, it needs to be a permanent part of your everyday lifestyle, so that includes the activity and the eating well and balanced food.
All right, fantastic. Thank you all for joining us today in the program. I know there's loads more issues that we wanted to cover. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But for those of you who are watching at home, don't forget that you can always add in your comments as well. Visit our website, mta.tv/realtalk. We'll try and put some links up there to some of these websites as well, where you can find out more information about the topic. And don't forget that you can catch up on previous issues there. We'll be back with more Real Talk programs in the future. We've got a lot more interesting topics ready and waiting, so I hope you can join me then. But until then, Assalamu alaikum.